Oh boy.
It took us like an hour to get running. So this is a walker mower. I've never seen one before. My butt's wet too, I just felt from the seat. But this little thing is a 3-cylinder Kubota D600 diesel. 1, 2, 3 little baby pistons. They're probably like that big around. So we're gonna take this diesel and we're gonna install it on this Deuce you see on the screen. This is a Super Deuce, which is ultra rare. It has the factory front steering rack on it. It would have came with a Honda V-twin and a Dana differential, but it is missing the whole entire swing arm. So what we're gonna do is remove this Kubota diesel, which is awesome because it's liquid cooled. It's a sweet little engine. And I don't know the specs, but I'll put them on the screen of what the power is. So we're gonna remove this. We're gonna keep anything off the mower that we think we may use in the future. And we have a nice aluminum radiator. And if you follow me over here, we got the coolest piece. Look at that rear end. Is she wet?
Not bad.
Super ultra baby turbo. And then we'll be installing this little turbo with a 2.5-inch stack, and it's going to be awesome. So you guys have been wanting to see a diesel for a long time. Finally got one. We do have a Kubota CVT pulley, which has got super heavy weights in it, so it'll engage at like 500 RPM. So this thing is getting taken apart today. We'll start on the Deuce. So let's get to ripping into it, baby. Woo! Thank you, Charlie Bellflower, for donating this mower to the channel. This old school walker mower, you said.
It's so cool.
Yeah, you literally, your feet, kind of dangerous. The drive shaft's right there that controls the deck, which is cool because this is a 90-degree gearbox, which we'll be keeping. But you're basically, once you throttle it, you're only stopping it. It's going full speed. So this stops it, and then you're engaging it, this tire in reverse, just like a regular zero turn, but it's always going forward. It's so weird, but cool little thing. I don't know much about diesels. So we got to make sure stuff we unhook, we keep, we label everything. So we're gonna get taking this thing apart and start the transplant. Join us on this journey. All right, so first we're gonna take this. This used to be a bagger mower. That's why it's got this weird flip part. Oh, cool.
That's a lot out of our way.
What in the world? I think the Milwaukee scissors will. That's a big rope.
It's gotten it though. You'll get through it.
That's what you'd see on a
2 hours later.
That's what you'd see on a pirate ship. Okay. It's a big piece gone. I'm gonna keep like these massive casters. I don't know what we'll use them on. That's a sweet setup. There we go. I'm gonna keep this air box, but I don't know if we're gonna run it. We actually may, so we can not have to worry about water. It's a cool little air filter, like a little tractor. So we're not gonna keep any of these V-belts, they're old. I am gonna keep stuff like this jack shaft. That thing's sick. That runs that pump. Probably even keep these 2 pumps here. It's got dual pumps, 1 for each wheel. And we can make a tank using these. That'd be cool.
You can't do that.
I can, I'm not smart enough. There's a little fuel pump right here. You see it down in there? A 12 volt fuel pump. Next, this is the radiator overflow. We'll get rid of all of it and just pull the radiator off and get all this crap removed. So we finally got a cherry picker because this engine weighs quite a bit. I mean, we could have lifted it, but I'm getting older, let's face it. So. Oh, that whole carriage, Lonnie, that we unbolted is coming up with it. So that's nice. Should be pretty, oh, so the carriage bolts to the engine and then bolts to the plate. So the engine only has bolts on the side of it, so they built that carriage to bolt it to a flat plate, so that's pretty simple. It's a heavy engine, it's all cast iron. So we're gonna have to do some good chopping out of that Deuce.
We're leaking some coolant.
Yeah, we'll leak a few things for sure. I like how it has a little skip plate with the oil pan and stuff on it. It's cool because it's just like a little car engine, cuter than a button. We're gonna keep a bunch of stuff off this mower, not for this particular build, but this got a lot of good stuff on it, so we're just gonna park this puppy outside. We just took the whole entire wiring harness off of it.
Set it on top. Alright.
So this is a J-arm setup like a Volkswagen would have, but this is a single, and there's a bunch of problems with this. As you're going through the suspension travel, it's just like a single A-arm or a McPherson strut. This is just a super simple way to give suspension. And you don't have a lot of clearance. If your tire's riding here, you're going to get into the body on both sides. So we're not going to keep this. And I thought about doing like an old rail buggy would have, which is dual J-arms. So it'd be just like two A-arms, but they go down, you know, and hold a spindle. But I think I'm just going to go A-arms and put the tire, center the tire about here. It's going to widen this thing a lot, but it's going to give it a ton of steering because we are going with 25-inch tires front and rear on this. So we're going to pull off. You can see where someone's cobbled up some tie rod ends when you can buy Go Power Sports tie rod ends for dirt cheap. So I don't know, but they were just doing what they had to do to ride. So it's 9/16 socket and wrench. Take these off. All right, now a 15/16 will take off this 5/8 spindle bolt. We're gonna keep all this stuff like we always do and just set it aside somewhere because those are good Deuce spindles that are not bent. We have Lonnie stripping all the wires and stuff. We're not using none of the original wiring stuff. So this is just hand tight because when the Deuce man brought this to me, that's who we got this, Scott the Deuce man. You guys remember him, he's a sweetheart. Okay. Now this is a pin, just a keeper pin. And I do have a punch for these. We're gonna punch this little pin out and then all this will slide right off. Super simple.
Boom, roasted. Wire's gone.
Got that wire, you mother. Suck up. Bonnie?
Yes, sir.
You can shut up.
Oh, can I? Thank you so much.
This is a roll pin punch set. That's what this is called, is a roll pin. Nacho's dad's garage. Check him out on YouTube. He gave me this set. He just had an extra one, I guess. Then you're gonna need another roll pin to knock it out. Knock it, and I'm knock a roll pin in it, knock it out.
Got it.
Oh, Lonnie finally got the 3/8 bolt out.
Look at how cross-threaded this was.
It's cross-thread is Loctite. Poor man's Loctite.
That's true.
I just leave it. It ain't like we're saving these. Come on.
I'm trying to get it off my wrench.
Unreal. Watch this. That's a good washer. I'm going to keep that washer. And I'm sure the Deuce man will want these because we don't want them. But I don't want to throw them away because they're good J-arms. Ooh, yeah, there we go. Look at that. That thing's still greased from who knows when this thing was built. But see how easy it is to design this front suspension. That's why Volkswagens did it. Volkswagens was the poor man's car. Like the everyday man could work on it. So you literally have a piece of tube and a super thick piece. They built this Deuce very well. Do you see how thick this is?
Oh, it's heavy.
Yeah,
With
this is
everything on it
3/8.
stripped off. It was heavy getting it off the trailer. And onto the trailer.
Ah! Ants! Ant colony! Vacuum! Here we go.
I got it.
Oh!
That is very greased. Very greased.
Is that it?
Yeah, bruh.
Those worked decent, but our old yellow Deuce had a ton of bumps here. It was horrible. But in Manco's defense, they never got to finish this. This was a world's first side-by-side. They was trying to get in the ATV market for hunting. So they came out with this. He literally drew this on a napkin in like 30 minutes, handed it to his engineer and told him to build it. And 1 week later, the Deuce came out. And then he sold Bill Hatlam sold Manco right after he built this, and they scrapped it all. So like they never made them no more. That's why you only see them for a few years. Oh, it's a piece of history that we're about to cut up. I call it. All right, so we modified this jig, which was a jig for the four-wheel drive buggy that we're never going to finish. And we bent these at a 50-degree bend, put a 45-degree notch in them, and look at that. Now, we also took a notched piece of tube and put here, so this is the same height every time. This is perfectly level. We checked level of this, threw a level on this, and what's the word I'm looking for here? Matched that. And so now I'm going to TIG weld all this, but I like to tack it all with a MIG, and I can come back, grind the MIG tacks down, and then TIG around it. I just think it looks cleaner. So Lonnie's going to look I'm going to look and get this, where they're not flim-flammed, and then I can tack down here, right there. Bam, we got a lower A-arm. And we're going to add a brace back here and some things to it. This is just the skeleton bare bone version. And there we go. We got a weird shaped A-arm. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like it. Oops. Alright, so we got these little baby A-arms made, and so I needed an upper A-arm support. So we ran this piece of 1-inch tube, we got it leveled out, we jacked up the buggy until it was perfectly level. Once we get this tacked in, then we can weld our supports for our upper A-arms in. Then our shock will mount right in this region. So let me throw my helmet on, give this some spatter. Alright, so that's our upper support. So like I said, now we can just mount our upper A-arm directly to this. And we're spacing these, I think this was a roundabouts from center to center. Roundabouts 5 1/4 or so to 5, maybe around, 5 1/4. So that's pretty good spacing. So our spindle will be real small on this. It won't be big and bulky like the four-wheel drive buggy. So now we can mount this A-arm. We're gonna do the same thing for the other side. And then we can start building our spindles for these, because I want to get the spindles made I'm thinking about using Go Power Sports 150 rear shocks on the front and mount it something like this. Build some ears that drop down from this. So I want it to have a ton of ground clearance. And these got 3 inches of travel, 3 to 3.5. And that's pretty good. And these are actually better than those eBay ones shown on screen. The ones on screen we used on Randy's cart, they was way weaker than these. These are actually way better built. So props to Go Power Sports. This one is at 21.3. Oh, 21.7. That's good enough. Seem like it's a trophy truck?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Lonnie's birthday today. He had to tell me, he had to do the old birthday hints. Like, hey, you know what today is?
Hey.
It's Wednesday, Lonnie. Lonnie's 30 years old today.
It's only downhill from here.
Now the things we care about. Let's get back to this. Happy birthday.
Oh, pop my back. For real though.
Johnny birthday present.
Oh yes.
Good gosh. That was my ribs. Look like a real suspension. I'm a real boy. So you like that?
It's alright.
Okay.
Ow, that's hot.
Don't touch it. Okay. So now we just got to prep that other side. And then we got to make a triplet. So let's go on to the other side. When the pimp's in the crib, Mom. Drop it like it's Drop it like it's
Oh yeah, we were supposed to take some off that.
I know.
Okay.
So this is ultra dull. We're missing teeth, everything, but you know, we ain't got that kind of money. But you know, you boys and lads are coming in clutch. I use this stuff for everything. Motor oil, brake fluid.
For some reason, all my stuff just started blowing up.
Sometimes I ain't using enough plastic.
Sometimes life just throws you curveballs like that.
I think when they built this chassis, they put this one lower than that side. What does this measure at, Lonnie?
5 7/8.
Is it?
6 3/8 or 6 1/4.
Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. This was built on a Friday. And now we're rebuilding on Friday. So we're going to knock off this corner of this notch because it's sitting right on the weld where it wasn't on the other side. Try that. It's closer. So Moto Mule cut these tabs out for me a long time ago. He made me ones for 1-inch tube and 1.5 inch. Of course, this is 1 inch. So thank you, Moto Mule. Go check out his channel if you have not, but you probably already have because he's a cool dude. I do 2 thin washers, 7/16 washers, because the 7/16 will fit a 1/2 inch bolt. If you're getting them from usually Tractor Supply or Co-op, that's the way they're made. And on final assembly, I always use fine thread, 1.5 inch grade 8 bolts, just to know we got all the strength. And a fine thread has more strength behind it than a coarse. And I'm doing these washers just to give us wiggle room. So, Lonnie, I'm gonna need you to
take it back.
Does this look in line, baby daddy? So what we're doing is, you can see how we have these out. These hind joints are a 1/2 inch extended. I haven't done this one yet, but this one is 3/4 extended. That's leaving me a good enough meat of threads inside here for strength. But that's going to make my hind joints, once I get this side done, that's why it's crooked right now, because this one isn't just out, but it'll make them unequal length. I forgot about that, and I should have made the lowers a little longer, like added 1 inch in here, because I like to get that kingpin angle. But you know, weed is fall, so we ain't turning back now. Hand me a 3/4, because like on the big 4-wheel drive buggy behind me, we did an unequal length A-arms on my buggy, and it handles extremely well. Like, you can let go of my buggy steering wheel and blast through the field and it not jerk all over the place with you. And that's because I got kingpin and all that correct. Okay guys, so we got the A-arms built for the Deuce. Both sides are all done and mocked up. So I always do the front suspension first because the front is going to determine the width of the buggy. So we do the front end and then get the tires and everything put on. Then we can start mounting the back. So on the next episode, we got to build the spindles and everything and get the front wheels ready to be installed. So we can see how wide we need to make the trailing arms on the rear. On this Deuce, we're going to be using a Easy-Go differential off of an Easy-Go golf cart. We're going to re-gear that to an 8-to-1 on a later episode. But we're going to do that, and we're going to take the axle tubes off and do trailing arms and CV joints. So you'll see that in upcoming episodes. But I think in the next episode, we're going to mount that turbo because I am super excited to put that turbo on that diesel. I just want to get it mounted, mocked up on there, and then we can start installing the diesel on this buggy and the differential. It's going to be a little interesting how I got to do a jack shaft setup for the pulley because a good friend of ours, Dave, thank you so much for this pulley. He had this pulley off of a Kubota side-by-side. We actually have a Kubota side-by-side coming up on the channel soon, but has those massive weights in there. So this thing engages at like 600 RPMs. So that's what we need to make this diesel perform well. But the only problem is that diesel is so wide. If I put this on the end of it, it would not line with the rear end if the rear end centered on the chassis. So you'll see how we're going to do this jack shaft setup in a future video. So stay tuned. A lot of stuff coming to this, and we are getting back to the four-wheel drive buggy. We've just got some parts getting made for it, and then we'll be able to, you know, start filming on it again. So we haven't gave up on it. We just, you got to plan these things a certain way. So make sure to check out the other videos, guys. We've been posting a lot on the Deuce. Did a collaboration with Finnegan, so go check that out, and go check out Finnegan's video as well. Good time, but thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to check out any links to any parts for this vehicle down below. We sure appreciate that. Helps us out a ton. We love you guys, and God bless.